back now! What are you doing?
I didn't do anything.
Distant horns. He checked the clock on the dashboard. Late. Again. A door slammed behind him. Out of the vehicle. Now. The voice was sharp. Young. Confident in a way that came from a badge, not experience. Marcus opened the door slowly. His boots hit the ground. Cold seeped through the soles. He kept his eyes forward. Calm. Always calm. I said now, the officer snapped, closer than Marcus expected. I'm out, Marcus said quietly. The officer stepped into his space. Too close. A hand pressed hard into Marcus's chest. Marcus stumbled back, hitting the side of the truck. Don't touch me, Marcus said. The officer's jaw tightened. You don't tell me what to do. A second cruiser rolled up. Tires hissed. Radios crackled. A small crowd formed across the street. Phones came out. Screens glowed. Marcus felt it, that familiar pressure behind his ribs. The warning. The calculation. One wrong move could turn this into something else. You people always got an attitude, the officer said. Marcus swallowed. I'm just making deliveries, he said. The officer laughed once. Short. Cold. Sure you are, he said, and shoved Marcus again, harder this time. Marcus caught himself on the truck's logo. Readline Logistics. Moving America forward. The officer followed his gaze. What's funny? He asked. Marcus said nothing. The officer reached for his cuffs. And that was when Marcus's phone began to ring. The rain had started light, then turned mean. Marcus Reed drove with both hands steady on the wheel. The wipers squeaked back and forth. The delivery manifest sat on the passenger seat, folded and creased from too many checks. Hospital first. Pharmacy next. No room for mistakes. The lights hit him without warning. Red. Blue. His stomach tightened, even before the siren chirped. He pulled over right away. Slow. Clean. Perfect. The officer stepped out fast, like he had somewhere better to be. Young. White. Broad shoulders under a stiff uniform. His hand rested near his belt. Marcus rolled the window down. Yes, sir, he said. You know why I stopped you? The officer asked. Marcus shook his head. No, sir. License and registration. Marcus reached carefully. Too carefully, maybe. He felt the officer watching every move, eyes sharp, searching for something wrong. Where you headed? The officer asked. Deliveries, Marcus said. Medical supplies. The officer glanced at the truck. At the logo. At Marcus's face. You running late? He asked. Yes, sir. The officer smirked. Figures. Marcus handed over the documents. The officer didn't look at them right away. He leaned closer instead. You got anything in the truck I should know about? He asked. No, sir. You sure? Yes. The officer straightened. Took a step back. Then another forward. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus paused for half a second. Then opened the door. He stepped down into the rain. The officer moved in fast. Too fast. Hands where I can see them. They are, Marcus said. The officer pushed him. Not enough to knock him down. Enough to make a point. Marcus hit the side of the truck with his shoulder. The metal rang dull and loud. Hey, Marcus said, heart jumping. Don't push me. The officer's face hardened. Watch your tone. I didn't do anything, Marcus said. The officer laughed under his breath. You people always say that. Marcus felt heat rise in his chest. He pressed it down. Forced his voice steady. I'm cooperating. The officer stepped closer. Their boots almost touched. Turn around, the officer said. For what? Marcus asked. The officer grabbed his arm. That did it. Across the street, someone gasped. Phones came out. 1, 2, 5. Marcus turned his head slightly. He saw a woman holding her phone up, rain dripping off the case. The officer noticed too. Back up, he shouted at the crowd. This doesn't concern you. Marcus's wrist twisted behind his back. Pain flashed white. Stop resisting, the officer said. I'm not resisting, Marcus said, breath tight. The cuffs came out. Cold metal. Click. The sound echoed louder than it should have. Marcus stared at the truck. At his truck. At the logo smeared with rain and dirt. Read line logistics. The officer leaned in close. You think driving this makes you important, he whispered. Marcus said nothing. The radio crackled behind them. Another cruiser pulled up. The officer tightened the cuffs one more notch. Marcus sucked in a breath. He felt the weight settle, not just the cuffs, but the moment. This was no longer routine. And it wasn't going to end quietly. The station smelled like old coffee and disinfectant. Marcus sat on a hard bench, wrist still cuffed in front of him. The metal bit into his skin every time he shifted. A ticking clock echoed from somewhere down the hall. Too loud. Too slow. An officer passed by without looking at him. Then another. Marcus tracked their boots. Black. Polished. Confident. No rush. He cleared his throat. Excuse me. No one stopped. His chest tightened. Not panic. Not yet. Something heavier. The feeling of being placed somewhere, like an object set on a shelf. The officer from the stop, Officer Hale, his badge said, stood near the desk, talking low with a sergeant. They didn't look at Marcus. They didn't need to. Hale laughed once. Marcus caught a few words drifting over. Non-compliant. Raised his voice. Had to assert control. Marcus stared at the floor. That wasn't how it happened. He knew that. They knew that too. The sergeant finally looked over. Bring him in, he said. Hale walked toward Marcus, keys jangling. Up, Hale said. Marcus stood. The cuffs pulled his shoulders forward. Hale guided him down a narrow hallway, hand firm on his elbow. Not rough. Just enough to remind him who was steering. They stopped at a small room. Gray walls. A table bolted to the floor. 2 chairs. One camera in the corner, its red light glowing. Hale uncuffed one wrist and sat Marcus down, then reattached the cuff to a metal ring under the table. Comfortable? Hale asked. Marcus didn't answer. Hale sat across from him. Leaned back. Crossed his arms. So, Hale said. Let's talk about what happened out there. I was pushed, Marcus said. Hale smiled thinly. You stepped toward me. I didn't. You raised your voice. I asked you not to touch me. Hale shrugged. That's resisting. Marcus felt the words settle in his stomach. Heavy. Wrong. I want a lawyer, Marcus said. Hale tilted his head. Already? Yes. Hale stood. Walked to the door. Paused with his hand on the knob. You know, he said, things go smoother when people cooperate. I did cooperate, Marcus said. Hale looked back at him. We'll see. The door shut. The clock ticked louder in this room. Minutes passed. Or maybe more. Marcus tried not to count. He flexed his fingers, feeling the pulse in his wrists. He thought about the deliveries sitting in his truck. Refrigerated medicine. Time-sensitive packages. Missed windows meant penalties. People waiting. The door opened again. A different officer stepped in. Older. Calm face. Clipboard in hand. Marcus Reed, he said. Yes. I'm Officer Collins. I'm going to ask you some questions. Am I being charged? Marcus asked. Collins Saturday. Open the clipboard. That depends, he said. Marcus exhaled slowly. What am I being accused of? Marcus asked. Failure to comply. Disorderly conduct. Obstruction. Marcus blinked. Obstruction of what? Collins didn't answer right away. He flipped a page. Why didn't you follow Officer Hale's commands? Collins asked. I did, Marcus said. Every one. Collins nodded, writing something down. Why were you agitated? I wasn't. Your tone was aggressive. Marcus leaned forward as far as the cuff allowed. My tone? He asked. Collins looked up. Met his eyes for the first time. Perception matters, Collins said. Marcus swallowed. What about the push? Marcus asked. What about the shove? Collins tapped his pen. Officer Hale felt threatened. The words landed hard. Threatened by me? Marcus asked. Collins didn't respond. Instead, he closed the clipboard. Your truck is being held, he said. Pending investigation. Marcus's chest tightened. That truck has medical supplies, he said. They can't just sit. Collins stood. Not my call. The door opened again. Hale stepped in, confidence back in his stride. Sergeant wants to move forward, Hale said. Sight and release. Marcus looked up. So I can go? Hale smiled. After paperwork. How long? Marcus asked. Hale shrugged. As long as it takes. Collins left. Hale stayed. He leaned down, voice low. Next time, Hale said, remember your place. Marcus felt something shift inside him. Not anger. Something colder. Hale straightened. Oh, he added, almost casual. Your company can pick the truck up tomorrow. Marcus stared at him. That delay, Hale said, that's on you. Hale turned and walked out. The door shut. The lock clicked. Marcus sat alone, cuffed to the table, listening to the clock. And for the first time that night, he wondered how far they planned to take this. Morning light crept through the high windows of the station, pale and weak. Marcus stood near the front desk, jacket damp, wrists finally free but still aching. The cuffs had left red marks that burned when he moved. He flexed his hands slowly, trying to bring the feeling back. Officer Hale leaned against the counter, relaxed now. Coffee in hand. Like the night before had been routine. A clerk slid papers across to Marcus. Sign here. Marcus scanned the page. Disorderly conduct. Failure to comply. This isn't true, Marcus said. The clerk didn't look up. You can contest it later. Marcus signed. Not because he agreed. Because he wanted out. The doors opened. Cold air rushed in. Marcus stepped outside. Across the street, the woman from the night before stood with two others. Phones still in hand. That's him, someone said softly. Marcus paused. The woman approached. We recorded everything, she said. They pushed you. We got it. Marcus nodded once. Thank you. Her face tightened. I already uploaded it. Marcus's phone buzzed. Then buzzed again. Messages stacked up. Missed calls. Unknown numbers. He opened a link. A shaky video. Rain streaking the lens. Hale's hand on Marcus's chest. The shove. The sound of metal. The comments scrolled fast. This is wrong. Same story, different day. Why does this keep happening? Marcus exhaled. Maybe this would matter. He walked back toward the station doors, phone still in his hand. Hale noticed. What's that? Hale asked. Video, Marcus said. From last night. Hale's smile didn't move. Everyone's a filmmaker now, he said. A sergeant stepped out. Younger officers followed. The air shifted. Hale gestured toward Marcus's phone. People online don't know context. They can see, Marcus said. The sergeant held out his hand. Let me see. Marcus hesitated. Then passed the phone over. The sergeant watched. His face stayed neutral. He handed it back. Body cam will show the full picture, the sergeant said. Can I see it? Marcus asked. Not at this time. When? Marcus asked. After review. Hale crossed his arms. Funny how clips cut off right before things go sideways. Marcus stared at him. I didn't go sideways, Marcus said. Hale leaned in. You always think that. A city truck pulled up to the curb. Two men stepped out. Tow uniforms. Marcus's chest tightened. That's my truck, he said. The sergeant nodded. It's being impounded. For what? Marcus asked. Investigation. It has medical shipments, Marcus said. People need those. The sergeant met his eyes. Not our issue. The tow driver climbed into the cab. Marcus stepped forward. Wait. Hale blocked him with one arm. Back up, Hale said. Don't make this worse. Across the street, phones went up again. Someone shouted, let him get his stuff. Hale turned. Disperse. No one moved. The tow truck engine growled. Chains clanked. Marcus felt the sound in his chest. You're punishing me, Marcus said quietly. Hale smiled. Actions have consequences. Marcus laughed once. Short. Empty. For existing, he asked. Hale's eyes hardened. Watch yourself. The truck lifted. Slow. Careful. Like it mattered more than he did. The Readline Logistics logo swung into view. Mud streaked. Familiar. Marcus's phone buzzed again. This time, a name flashed on the screen. Dispatch Supervisor, East Hub. Marcus didn't answer. Not yet. The sergeant stepped back. You're free to go. Marcus looked at the station. At Hale. At the truck being pulled away. Am I? He asked. No one replied. Marcus turned and walked down the sidewalk. Every step felt heavier. Not fear. Pressure. Like the city itself was leaning on him. Behind him, Hale spoke low to another officer. "People forget," Hale said. "They always do." Marcus stopped at the corner. He looked back once. Hale was laughing again. Marcus answered the call. "Yes," he said. He listened. His face changed. He looked at the empty street ahead of him. And for the first time, the silence on the other end of the line scared him more than the cuffs ever had. Marcus sat alone in his office long after the building emptied. The lights were off except for one lamp near the window. Outside, the city moved like nothing had happened. Cars passed. Sirens rose and fell. Somewhere, deliveries were still being made. Just not his. His phone lay on the desk. Face down. Quiet now. The silence felt heavier than the station had. He loosened his tie and leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. The cuffs were gone, but his wrist still ached. Ghost pressure. Memory pressure. He closed his eyes. He saw Hale's hand again. The shove. The smile that came after. Marcus had learned early how to stay still. How to lower his voice. How to slow his hands. How to survive moments like that by shrinking inside himself. It had worked before. But last night hadn't ended. A knock came at the door. Marcus opened his eyes. "Come in." Yanelle stepped inside, tablet tucked under her arm. Operations director. Sharp mind. Tired eyes. "They're calling from 3 hospitals," she said. "Missed shipments. Blood units. Dialysis kits." Marcus nodded. "I know. They want answers." Marcus rubbed his face. "What did you tell them?" "That the truck was delayed," she said. "I didn't say why." Marcus looked at her. "Good." Yanelle hesitated. "The videos everywhere." Marcus exhaled slowly. "How bad?" he asked. She turned the tablet toward him. The screen filled with headlines. Delivery driver shoved by police. Witnesses record traffic stop. Department declines comment. They hadn't used his name. Not yet. "The comments are split," Yanelle said. "Some people believe you. Some don't." Marcus gave a small nod. "They never do at first." Yanelle studied him. "You okay?" Marcus thought about the question. About how many times he'd answered it with a lie. "I'm functioning," he said. Her jaw tightened. They impounded a company truck. Marcus met her eyes. "Yes. That's not small," she said. "I know." She lowered her voice. "Do they know?" Marcus shook his head. "No." Yanelle exhaled. "Then they're about to." Another knock. This time, it was Andre from legal. Suit crisp. Expression controlled. "We need to talk," Andre said. Marcus gestured to the chair. Andre Saturday. Opened a folder. "Charges are minor," Andre said. "But the pattern isn't." Marcus leaned forward. "Pattern?" Andre slid a page across the desk. Complaints. Dates. Similar language. Marcus scanned the list. Officer Hale. Again. 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 "They don't stick," Andre said. Internal review. Cleared. Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. "So nothing happens," Marcus said. "Usually," Andre said. "Unless someone forces daylight." Marcus leaned back. Silence stretched. Outside, a horn blared. Life continued. "What about the truck?" Marcus asked. Andre tapped the folder. "We can demand release. But if we push too hard too fast." "They'll dig in," Marcus finished. Andre nodded. Yanelle crossed her arms. "Meanwhile people don't get medicine." Marcus closed his eyes. This was the cost. Not just to him. To everyone connected to him. He thought about his father. About the first warehouse. About nights spent sleeping in the cab because rent came second to payroll. He had built Readline to move things people needed. And now it was being used against him. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Marcus stared at it. Let it ring. Then buzz again. This time, a text followed. "Call me. Command staff." Marcus opened his eyes. Andre leaned forward. "Who is it?" Marcus held up the phone. Yanelle's breath caught. "Already?" Marcus stood. Walked to the window. Looked down at the street. People passed beneath him, unaware. He answered. "This is Marcus Reed," he said. A pause. Then a voice, measured and polite. "Mr. Reed," the voice said. We should have spoken sooner. Marcus closed his eyes. Yes, he said. You should have. Silence filled the line. And in that silence, Marcus understood something clearly for the first time. Staying quiet hadn't protected him. It had only made them comfortable. And now, the comfort was about to break. The review room was colder than the conference room. No windows. No slogans on the walls. Just a long table, a screen, and a quiet hum from the ceiling lights. Marcus sat beside Andre, hands folded, posture calm. Across from them, internal affairs officers prepared files without meeting his eyes. Officer Hale sat alone at the far end. No badge now. Just a uniform that looked heavier without it. The screen flickered on. This is the available body cam footage, an investigator said. Recording begins 40 seconds after initial contact. Marcus watched the footage start late. Too late. Rain. The truck. Hale already close. Already angry. Andre leaned toward Marcus. That gap matters. I know, Marcus said. The investigator paused the video. Officer Hale, why was your camera off? Hale cleared his throat. Malfunction. How often does it malfunction? The investigator asked. Sometimes, Hale said. The investigator clicked a remote. A slide appeared. Dates. Times. Reports. Marcus leaned in. These are prior incidents, the investigator said. Same explanation. Camera inactive. Hale shifted. Coincidence. The investigator didn't respond. He changed the slide. City contracts filled the screen. Vendor names. Routes. Values. Read line logistics, the investigator said. Signed by. Marcus's name appeared. Hale stared. You signed these? Hale asked, voice tight. Yes, Marcus said. Hale laughed once. So this is retaliation. Andre spoke. This is accountability. The investigator turned to Hale. Officer, were you aware Mr. Reed's company supplies emergency units across this district? No, Hale said quickly. But you were aware he was black, the investigator said. Silence. That awareness, the investigator continued, appears to have guided your perception of threat. Hale leaned forward. He disrespected me. Marcus looked at him. By standing still? Hale snapped his head up. You think you're better than me? Marcus shook his head. I think you're dangerous. The investigator raised a hand. Enough. A knock sounded at the door. Another officer entered, whispering. The investigator nodded. We've received additional footage, he said. The screen changed. Street-level video. Clearer. Wider. The shove. The gasp from the crowd. Hale's voice sharp. Marcus's calm. The room stayed silent as the clip ended. That footage, the investigator said, came from 3 separate witnesses. Hale swallowed. You people don't understand pressure, Hale said. Out there. On the street. Marcus leaned forward slightly. I understand pressure, he said. I live in it. The investigator closed the file. Officer Hale, he said, you are being placed on administrative leave pending termination. Hale stood abruptly. You can't. Sit down, the investigator said. Hale froze. The investigator continued. This department will also review all cases involving Officer Hale over the past 5 years. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. Not relief. Release. Andre exhaled. The investigator turned to Marcus. Mr. Reed, the city would like to discuss remediation. Marcus nodded. Good. As the meeting ended, Hale spoke one last time. You won, Hale said bitterly. Marcus paused at the door. This isn't a win, Marcus said. It's a record. He walked out. Behind him, the door closed. And for the first time since the lights had flashed behind his truck, Marcus felt the balance shift, quietly, permanently. The news vans lined the street before sunrise. Marcus watched from the steps of City Hall, jacket buttoned, hands in his pockets. Microphones waited like traps. Cameras blinked red, always recording. Inside, the press conference was already filling. Andre stood beside him. You don't have to speak. Marcus nodded. I know. But you will, Andre said. Yes. They walked in together. The room hushed. The police chief stepped to the podium first. His voice was steady, practiced. Following a full internal review, the chief said, Officer Daniel Hale has been terminated. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Additionally, the chief continued, we have identified a pattern of misconduct. Marcus felt the word settle. Pattern. Finally said out loud. The chief gestured toward Marcus. Mr. Reed has agreed to address the public. Marcus stepped forward. The lights felt hotter up close. He adjusted the microphone once. I was stopped, Marcus said. I complied. I was pushed anyway. Cameras clicked. I was handcuffed because my calm was seen as threat, he continued. My silence was seen as guilt. A reporter raised a hand. Why didn't you say who you were? Marcus met her eyes. Because it shouldn't matter. The room went quiet. The footage mattered, Marcus said. The witnesses mattered. But what mattered most was that this wasn't new. Screens behind him lit up. Complaints. Dates. Names blurred except one. Hale. Gasps followed. This officer wasn't an exception, Marcus said. He was protected. The chief stepped forward again. We are announcing mandatory body cam audits and independent oversight. Another murmur. A reporter shouted, is this because of Reedline logistics? Marcus answered before the chief could. No, Marcus said. This is because power went unchecked. The conference ended fast after that. Outside, questions flew. Marcus moved through them without stopping. Across the plaza, Hale stood near a patrol car, hands shaking as he emptied his locker into a box. No cameras near him now. For a moment, their eyes met. Hale looked away first. Marcus kept walking. His phone buzzed. Truck released. Routes resumed. Marcus closed his eyes. Behind him, the city buzzed with reaction. In front of him, work waited. Justice hadn't been loud. But it had been seen. Exact assigned word count, 900. Marcus drove the route himself the next morning. No lights. No sirens. Just traffic and early sun. The same streets felt different. Not safer. Just honest. At the hospital dock, a nurse waved when she saw the logo. Glad you're back, she said. Me too, Marcus replied. He signed the clipboard. Simple. Normal. Back in the cab, he sat for a moment before starting the engine. The memory of the shove still lived in his body. It probably always would. That was the cost. At the office later, Yanel handed him a report. Policy changes, she said. Citywide. Marcus nodded. Good. And this, she added. Civil settlement offer. Marcus skimmed it. Donate it, he said. Yanel blinked. All of it. To drive illegal funds, Marcus said. People who don't get rooms like that. Yanel smiled once. Sad. Proud. That evening, Marcus stood in the warehouse as trucks rolled in and out. Engines humming. Systems working. Andre called. You did something important. Marcus watched a driver hop down from a cab, laughing with another. I didn't do it, Marcus said. The truth did. Silence filled the line. As night settled, Marcus locked up and stepped outside. No cameras waited. No one watched. And that felt right. He looked at the trucks moving down the road, lights steady, purposeful. Still moving America forward. Just like they were always meant to. The warehouse smelled like fresh coffee and rubber tires. Marcus stood at the office window, watching trucks roll out. Every engine hum reminded him of the past week. The push, the cuffs, the videos, the public scrutiny. His phone buzzed again. Too many notifications. Emails from hospitals. Clinics. Pharmacies. Clients asking if deliveries would resume. Drivers checking in. All expecting answers. Yanel stepped in, holding a tablet. Marcus, 3 hospitals called. They want confirmation the routes are back on schedule. I know, he said, voice steady but tired. He rubbed his wrists. Still a faint ache. A reminder. She hesitated. Some of them saw the videos. Comments are all over social media. Marcus nodded. They will see that we're moving. That's what matters. A young driver peeked in. Boss, people are asking about Reedline's reputation. They're concerned. Marcus stepped out from the window. I understand. Make sure every truck leaves on time. Every delivery accounted for. He paused. And be honest if anything's delayed. No excuses. The driver nodded, inspired. Yes, sir. Andre entered, folder in hand. Marcus, the city wants you at an oversight meeting. Your testimony about the incident. Policy changes. It's tomorrow. Marcus exhaled slowly. I'll go. But I want it recorded accurately. No spin. Andre nodded. Of course. Marcus picked up his phone again. A message from an unknown number. You're making waves. Keep your eyes open. He froze. Heart thumped. Not panic. Calculation. He knew threats came quietly sometimes. Yanel noticed. Is that? Marcus shook his head. Nothing yet. But stay alert. Hours passed. Trucks returned. Routes corrected. Orders delivered. Marcus walked among drivers, handing off manifests, listening, giving instructions, quietly rebuilding trust. Each handshake, each word mattered. Each acknowledgement of their work reminded him why he built Readline. A client representative arrived unexpectedly. Suit pressed, badge clipped to belt. Mr. Reed, he said. We reviewed the incident. Your company's professionalism during the disruption was noted. Hospitals are impressed. Marcus gave a small nod. Thank you. It wasn't easy. The representative hesitated. Be aware, there may be individuals unhappy with the outcome. Stay careful. Marcus exhaled. He had expected that. He had expected scrutiny. He had learned patience. Later, Marcus walked back to his office. He looked at the trucks leaving in neat lines, drivers waving. A faint smile touched his lips. He had earned this. But he knew it was fragile. His phone buzzed again. Another unknown caller. He ignored it. Still, the unease lingered, a whisper of what could come. Marcus closed the office door. Sat down. He took a deep breath. The city was moving forward. So was he. But someone, somewhere, was still watching. And that thought made him alert, even as he began to plan the next step. Cliffhanger, Marcus knows the calm is temporary. The threat of retaliation is out there, unseen but real. The sun rose low over the city, gold and soft. Marcus drove his truck alone, the streets quieter than usual. No flashing lights. No sirens. Just the hum of engines, the occasional honk, and the rhythm of deliveries that needed no interruption. At the first hospital dock, a nurse waved. Glad you're back. Marcus smiled faintly. Me too. He signed the delivery slips, handed over boxes of medicines, and felt the weight in his chest ease a little. The past weeks hadn't disappeared, the shove, the cuffs, the viral videos, but each successful delivery reminded him why he built Readline. Why he endured. Back at the office, Yanel met him with a tablet. The city has implemented all the policy changes we requested. Mandatory body cam checks, independent oversight, proper review processes. They're holding everyone accountable now. Marcus nodded. Good. That's more important than headlines. Andre stepped in, holding another folder. The civil settlement, you were right. You wanted it directed to driver legal funds. They approved it. Marcus opened the folder. Every penny, he said. For drivers who don't have this protection. Andre smiled. People are noticing. Some young drivers even called, saying your actions inspired them. Marcus leaned against the desk, rubbing his wrists. I didn't do it for praise, he said. I did it to stop someone from thinking they could push others with impunity. A driver came rushing in, holding a route sheet. Mr. Reed, the West Hub says all deliveries are on track now. No delays. Marcus exhaled. Relief and exhaustion intertwined. He walked to the warehouse floor. The trucks rolled in synchronized rhythm. Drivers communicated clearly. Packages moved efficiently. Outside, Marcus paused. Rain from the previous night had left the streets slick and shining. Reflections of the truck's lights danced like little signals. He thought of Officer Hale, removed from his position, stripped of authority. Of the system finally seeing the truth. He thought of the witnesses whose voices had mattered more than the cameras. And yet, Marcus knew justice always carried a cost. Quiet or loud, it left marks. On bodies. On minds. On the memory of what had been endured. He picked up his phone. A message, good work. Stay safe. Marcus typed back, already on it. He looked around the warehouse at the drivers, young and old, focused and steady. Some had watched the news unfold, some hadn't. But they all knew one thing now, dignity mattered. And it could be defended. Marcus locked the office door for the night. The streets were calm. The city didn't cheer, didn't wait with cameras on. But in the silence, Marcus felt the weight of every delivery, every decision, every stand he had taken. And for the first time in a long while, he let himself feel it, a quiet victory. Not loud. Not flashy. Just right. He stepped outside. The trucks hummed behind him. Lights steady. Engines ready. Reed line was moving forward. Marcus inhaled the night air. The city would challenge him again someday. But tonight, it was enough to know he had held his ground. And that was victory enough. Cliffhanger or emotional close. The story ends on a bittersweet note. Marcus's triumph is quiet but earned, and the next generation of drivers and citizens now have a model of resilience and justice to follow.